$8,500. That was the number my sister texted me at 7:12 on a Tuesday morning. No greeting, no question mark. Just a dollar amount and the words, "Venue deposit due Friday. Wire it to me by Thursday." Not, "Can you?" Not, "Would you?" Just a deadline for money that wasn't mine to give, and it turned out wasn't hers to spend. She called it a sweet 16, a milestone, a family moment. She didn't know I'd already seen the statements. She didn't know I could read a trust the way she read a party menu. And she really didn't know that when she forged my name to release the rest of it, there was a second signature line on that account, mine. So I made one call. And by the time she walked into the venue with a deposit check, the account it came from had already frozen. My name is Naomi. I'm 34. If you met my family at a barbecue, you'd leave thinking my sister Paige was the warm one and I was the cold one. Paige is loud in the way people mistake for generous. She's the first to offer a toast, the first to hug a cousin she hasn't seen in years, the first to say, "We're family. We take care of each other," in a voice loud enough that the whole patio hears it. I'm the one who reads the contract before signing it. In my family, that's practically a personality disorder. Paige is 2 years older than me. She has a daughter, Bristol, who is about to turn 16, and a husband, Kyle, who sells cars and calls everyone chief. They live in a house with a mortgage that Paige describes as an investment, and a lifestyle she describes as "we just make it work." They do not. She has a daughter, Bristol, who is about to turn 16, and a husband, Kyle, in fact, make it work. They make it look like it works, which is a different and much more expensive skill. Now, for most of our childhood, Paige got the benefit of the doubt and I got the questions. When Paige overspent, she was living life. When I saved, I was hoarding. When Paige borrowed $20 and forgot, it was cute. When I asked for it back, I was keeping score. I learned early that in our family, generosity flowed in one direction, and I was expected to be the source, not the recipient. The person who saw that clearly, the only person, was our grandmother. Grandma Rosalind was 84, silver-haired, and had spent 40 years as a bookkeeper for a shipping company before she retired. She could balance a checkbook faster than most people could find a calculator. She wore reading glasses on a beaded chain and kept every receipt she'd ever received in labeled shoeboxes in a hall closet, organized by year. She used to say, "Naomi, money is just a story people tell about who they think they are. If you want to know someone, don't listen to the story, read the ledger." I didn't understand her then. I understand her now. Grandma Rosalind had 3 grandchildren, me, Paige, and our cousin Devin, and 4 great-grandchildren, including Bristol. And a few years before this story begins, she did something that would eventually blow my family apart. She set up a trust, not a big dramatic Swiss bank kind of trust, a practical one. Grandma had sold a duplex she'd owned for decades, the one she and Grandpa bought in 1971, and she put the proceeds into an education trust for the great-grandchildren. Each child had a designated share earmarked for college, trade school, or a documented plan to build a life. The money couldn't be touched for cars, vacations, weddings, or, and I would come to appreciate this specific wording later, celebrations. Bristol's share was just under $40,000. And Grandma, being Grandma, didn't leave the trust in one person's hands. She named a co-trustee structure. The bank held the account, but any disbursement over $500 required 2 signatures. One was Grandma's designated family trustee, the other, she decided quietly, would be me. "You'll read the paperwork," she told me. "Paige will read the room. I need someone reading the paperwork." I said yes because I loved her, well, not because I understood what I was agreeing to. That signature would become the most important thing I ever signed. For about a year, the trust sat quietly and did what trusts do, nothing dramatic. I got quarterly statements in the mail because Grandma insisted on paper. I filed them in a folder. I glanced, I confirmed the balances looked right, I moved on with my life. Then Grandma's health started to slip. Nothing sudden. A fall, a hospital stay, a move from her own house to an assisted living apartment. And in the reshuffling, Paige volunteered loudly, generously, to help manage Grandma's affairs. She got added as Grandma's power of attorney for day-to-day things. She started driving Grandma to appointments. She started answering Grandma's mail. and that's when the statements stopped arriving at my address. I didn't notice at first. Life is busy. A missing quarterly statement is the kind of thing you tell yourself you'll off on and then don't. But I'm the one who reads the fine print, remember? Eventually, the itch got too strong. I called the bank that held the trust, gave my name, confirmed I was a co-trustee, and asked why I'd stopped receiving statements. The woman on the phone said the mailing address had been updated. I asked to what? She read out Paige's address. I asked her, as calmly as I could, to email me the last 4 statements. When they came through, I sat at my kitchen table and read them the way Grandma taught me, line by line, date by date. And the numbers didn't add up. There were disbursements, small ones. $300 here, $400 there, all under the $500 threshold that would have required my second signature. A pattern of them. 9 over 8 months. Bristol wasn't in college. Bristol was 15. I added them up. Just over $3,100 had left Bristol's education trust in 8 months, in amounts small enough to slide under the rule that would have required me to co-sign. I sat with that for a long time. Then I did what I always do. I didn't call anyone. I didn't accuse anyone. I started a folder. I gave Paige a chance. I want to be clear about that because later she would tell people I ambushed her. I didn't. I invited her for coffee. I said I'd noticed some activity on Bristol's trust and I wanted to understand it. She laughed the laugh she uses when she's about to reframe something. Oh, it's nothing. It's just a loan from the fund. Bristol needed a laptop for school, then there was a camp, then some other stuff. I'm paying it back. The trust doesn't allow loans, I said. It's for documented education expenses. And disbursements over $500 need my signature, which is why I kept them small, she said, and then heard herself say it. And her face did something complicated. You kept them under $500 so they wouldn't need my signature, I said. Not a question. I kept them manageable, she corrected. No, you're doing the thing, the accountant thing. This is Bristol, your niece. Grandma set that money up for the kids. I'm the kids' mother. Who do you think it's for? It's for Bristol's education, I said, in writing. Grandma was very specific. Paige's voice sharpened. Grandma was old and she trusted me to make decisions for this family. You weren't around for the doctor's appointments. You weren't there when she was scared at 2 in the morning. I was. And now you want to audit me over a laptop? I recognized the maneuver. It's the oldest one in my family. It's the convert a factual question about money into an emotional referendum on love. If I kept asking about the ledger, I was the cold one who cared about numbers more than my dying grandmother. So I did what Grandma taught me. I stopped talking, and I let her fill the silence. Look, Paige said, softening, because the softening always comes when the sharpness doesn't land. I'll pay it back. Bristol's got her big birthday coming up. Once that's behind us, things settle down, I'll put it all back, okay? Can we just be normal? Can you just be my sister for once instead of the family IRS? I said okay. I did not mean okay. I meant, I have now heard you admit out loud that you structured withdrawals to avoid my oversight, and you've told me the birthday is where the next pressure is coming from. I went home and I updated the folder. I wrote down the date, the coffee shop, and the phrase loan from the fund in quotation marks. Then I called the bank again, not to accuse, just to ask a single technical question. If a co-trustee suspects misuse, I said, what's the process to place a temporary hold? The woman explained it. I wrote it down. I thanked her. And then Bristol's Sweet 16 started to become a problem for everyone. I want to be fair to Bristol. None of this was her fault. She was a 16-year-old who wanted a nice party, which is the most normal thing in the world. She didn't ask to be the reason her college fund got treated like a checking account. But Paige had decided this Sweet 16 was going to be an event, not cake and pizza, in a backyard, a venue. A hall with chandeliers, a DJ, a photo booth, a dessert table, a grand entrance. And I learned this from a group chat I'd been added to and then largely ignored. A surprise. Reveal of a car. A hall with chandeliers, a DJ, a photo booth, a dessert table, a car for a 16-year-old, financed presumably by the same magic that funded everything else in Paige's life. The venue alone required a deposit of $8,500 to hold the date. Now, if Paige and Kyle went into debt to throw their daughter a party, that was their business. I'd have thought it was foolish, but foolish is a right. People are allowed to make choices with their own money. The problem was that Paige didn't have $8,500. And she'd already run out of small withdrawals she could sneak, so she came to me directly, first warmly, then not. The warm version came as a phone call. Naomi, so Bristol's party, it's going to be beautiful. I really want you there. You're her aunt. This is a big deal. Then, casually, like it was an afterthought, the venue needs a deposit, and cash flow's just tight this month with Kyle's commission cycle. I was thinking, Bristol's trust has plenty. We just released the deposit from there, and it's honestly kind of perfect because the party's basically her milestone. Right? Grandma would have loved it. The trust is for education, I said again. A party isn't education, it's a life experience, Paige said. Do you know how developmentally important these milestones are for teenage girls? I did not take the bait on adolescent development. I can't sign off on that, I said. It's not what the money's for. If the bank saw an $8,000 disbursement to a party venue, it wouldn't clear anyway. That's exactly the kind of thing the two-signature rule is designed to stop. There was a pause. Then Paige's voice dropped into the register I knew meant we'd left the warm version behind. So you'll let Bristol's whole birthday fall apart over a technicality, over your feelings about a piece of paper. That's who you are. The paper is Grandma's wishes, I said. I didn't write it. I just read it. She hung up. The next morning at 7:12 the text arrived, $8,500. Venue deposit due Friday. Wire it to me by Thursday, not from the trust that time, from me, personally. She'd pivoted from raiding Bristol's fund to demanding I fund the party out of my own pocket, as though the amount were a fact of nature I was obligated to satisfy. I typed and deleted 3 replies, then I sent one line, I'm not able to send that. And I won't approve it from Bristol's trust. That money is for her education, she read it. The little red receipt appeared. She didn't respond. I thought that was the end of it. It was the beginning. 3 days later, my phone buzzed with a message from the bank. It wasn't a marketing text. It was an automated confirmation of a disbursement request pending co-trustee approval. A request had been initiated against Bristol's Education Trust. Amount, $8,500. Payee, a company whose name I didn't recognize, which a quick search revealed was the events company that owned the venue. I stared at it. The two-signature rule had done exactly what Grandma designed it to do. A disbursement that large couldn't sneak under the threshold. It had triggered a request for co-trustee approval, my approval. Whoops, meant need a request to move, which meant Paige had submitted a request to move $8,500 out her daughter's college fund and into a party venue, and the only thing standing between her and that money was my signature. I did not approve it. I called the bank instead. I explained who I was. I explained the trust terms. I explained that the requested disbursement was for a party venue, not an education expense, and that as co-trustee I was formally declining to approve it and wanted a note placed on the file. The banker was professional and a little careful, the way people get when they sense a family situation. She confirmed the request would not proceed without both signatures, and that my objection was noted. I thought, again, that this was the end. Then a week later I got the call that told me it wasn't. It was the banker. Different tone, Ms. Naomi. I'm calling because we've received the co-trustee authorization for the disbursement we discussed, both signatures. I wanted to confirm with you directly before we release funds because you'd previously placed an objection on the file, and our system flagged the discrepancy. I felt something go very cold and very calm in my chest at the same time. Both signatures, I repeated. Whose signatures? The primary trustee and yourself, ma'am. I didn't sign anything, I said. Silence on the line. The specific silence of a bank employee realizing they might be looking at fraud. Can you email me the document with the signatures? I asked. She could. She did. I opened it at my kitchen table, in the same chair where I'd read the first suspicious statement months earlier. There was my name, Naomi, in a signature that looped and slanted in a way mine never had. Paige had always thought my handwriting was fussy. She'd tried to make it fussy. She'd gotten it wrong in every way that mattered, and apparently, close enough to submit. She had forged my signature to release her daughter's college fund for a party. I want to describe what I felt, because people always ask. It wasn't rage. Rage is loud, and loud has never worked in my family. What I felt was the specific stillness of finally holding a thing you can prove. For years, Paige had operated in the gap between what she said and what was true. She'd borrowed and reframed and softened and guilted, and every time, the family sided with the warm story over the cold ledger. Now the ledger had her signature on it, her forgery of mine. Here's the part people came for, so let me be precise about it because it was precise. I did not call Paige. I did not post anything. I did not draft a furious paragraph and send it to the family group chat. I called the bank back, and I asked the banker one question first. If a co-trustee's signature has been forged on a disbursement request, what happens to the account? She said that forgery of a trustee's signature was a serious matter, that the disbursement absolutely would not proceed, and that the standard procedure was to place a full hold on the account pending investigation and to escalate to their fraud department. Then, that's what I'm reporting, I said. My signature on that document is forged. I'm requesting a hold on the account and a fraud review. There's a version of this story where I hesitated. Where I thought, she's my sister, it's Bristol's money. Maybe I should give her a chance to withdraw the request quietly. I didn't hesitate. Not because I'm hooked, because I'd already given her the coffee shop. I'd already given her the polite text. I'd already declined and noted my objection through proper channels. She'd responded by committing a crime against her own daughter's education fund. The banker walked me through it. I confirmed my identity 3 separate ways. I stated on a recorded line that I had not signed the authorization dated that week and did not consent to the disbursement. I requested the hold. She placed it while I was on the phone. I heard her typing. Then she said, okay, the account is frozen pending review. No funds will move in or out until this is resolved. I'm escalating the forgery report now. Someone from our team will contact both trustees. Which meant Paige was about to get a phone call she was not expecting, on a day she thought she'd already won. I made that call at 2:40 in the afternoon on a Wednesday. The venue deposit was due Friday. By the time Paige's forged authorization would have released the money, the account it was drawn from was a locked box and a fraud analyst had Paige's name and my name and a document with a signature that didn't match anything I'd ever written. By the time Paige's forged authorization would have released the money, the account it was drawn from was a locked box. I hung up. I put my face down on the table. I made a cup of tea and I let it get cold the way Grandma used to, because she said good tea was for enjoying and important tea was for thinking. That was important tea. Paige called me 11 times over the next 2 hours. I didn't answer any of them. Not out of cruelty. Because there was nothing to say that the bank wasn't already going to say better with a case number attached. When I finally listened to the voicemails, they went through the entire emotional arc in real time. The first was confused. Now me. The bank froze the account. Do you know what's going on? Call me. The third was suspicious. Did you do something? What did you tell them? The 7th was furious. You are unbelievable. You'd ruin your niece's birthday to prove a point. Grandma would be ashamed of you. The 10th was frightened and quieter and told me more than all the others combined. Naomi, please. They're saying the word fraud. Please just tell them it was a misunderstanding. Please tell them it was a misunderstanding. She wasn't asking me to forgive her. She was asking me to lie for her. I didn't call back. The venue deposit didn't clear. The date got released. The grand event collapsed into a scramble. I heard about it secondhand, because by then most of the family had chosen a side, and the side they chose was the loud one. My mother called me first. Naomi, what is this I'm hearing about you freezing Bristol's trust? Your sister is beside herself. That poor girl's birthday. Mom, I said. Paige forged my signature on a bank document to take $8,500 out of Bristol's college fund for a party venue. The bank froze the account because forgery is a crime, not because I threw a tantrum. There was a pause. My mother, like the rest of my family, had spent decades preferring Paige's story to the ledger. "I'm sure it wasn't forgery," she said. "I'm sure she just signed for you to move things along." "You know how she is. Signing my name without my consent on a legal document is forgery," I said. "That's not a personality quirk. That's the definition. You don't have to be so cold about it." There it was. The word I'd been called my whole life. Cold. As if reading a document correctly were a temperature. "I'm not cold, Mom," I said. "I'm accurate." "There's a difference, and our family has spent 30 years pretending there isn't." She hung up on me too. "It runs in the family. For about 10 days, I was the villain. Cousins I hadn't heard from in years texted to tell me I was tearing the family apart over money. Kyle left me a voicemail calling me a word I won't repeat. Bristol. And this is the part that hurt. Sent me a single text that said, "I can't believe you did this to me. I didn't defend myself to any of them." Because Grandma taught me something that Paige never learned. You don't win an argument about the ledger by shouting. You win it by keeping the ledger, and I had kept it. I had the quarterly statements showing the pattern of sub-$500 withdrawals. I had the email trail with the bank. I had the recording of my own reported objection. I had the forged authorization with my name looped and slanted in someone else's hand. I had 11 voicemails, one of which contained the sentence, "Please just tell them it was a misunderstanding." And I had one more thing, which no one in the family knew about yet. Grandma Rosalind was still alive, frail, yes, in assisted living, yes, but sharp on her good days, and this, the trust, the numbers, the wishes, this was the one subject that always brought her back into focus like a lens clicking into place. I went to see her. I brought the folder. I didn't dump it on her. I'm not a monster. But she asked, the way she always asked, how are the children's funds doing? Because in her mind, those funds were her legacy, the one clean thing she'd built. So I told her the truth, gently, in order, with dates. She listened the way she'd taught me to listen, more than she talked. When I finished, she took off her reading glasses, folded them, and set them on the little table by her chair. "Naomi," she said, "I put your name on that account for a reason. Do you remember what I told you?" Paige reads the room. I read the paperwork. And what did the paperwork say? That the money was Bristol's for her education, and that it takes 2 signatures to move real money. So what did you do? I refused to sign. And when she forged it, I called the bank. Grandma Rosalind nodded, slow and certain, and said the thing I will hear in my head for the rest of my life. "You didn't freeze your sister's account," she said. "You protected your niece's future. Those are not the same thing. No matter what they tell you at Thanksgiving." Then she asked me to help her write a letter. A milestone. The letter was Grandma's idea, and it was better than anything I could have engineered. She asked her estate attorney, a careful woman named Margaret Chen, 2 towns over, to convene a family meeting. Not a shouting match in someone's kitchen. A meeting at Margaret's office with the trust documents on the table and a copy for everyone. Paige came because she thought it was her chance to explain. Explain. My parents came because they thought they'd smooth it over. Kyle came in a blazer he clearly thought made him look serious. Bristol came because Grandma specifically asked for her, and Bristol, whatever her mother had told her, still loved her great-grandmother. Grandma came in a wheelchair, wearing the beaded reading glasses chain with a manila folder in her lap that matched mine. Margaret didn't make a speech. She's not the speech type. She laid the documents out in order the way you'd deal cards. The trust. The 2-signature requirement highlighted the pattern of sub-threshold withdrawals. The declined disbursement request. The forged authorization, and next to it a sample of my actual signature from the original trust paperwork, so everyone in the room could see with their own eyes that the 2 did not match. The account was frozen, Margaret said, because a forged trustee signature was submitted to release funds. That is not a family disagreement. That is bank fraud, and the bank, not Naomi, made the decision to freeze the account and open a review. Naomi's only action was to truthfully report that she had not signed the document. Kyle started to say something about blowing this out of proportion. Grandma raised one hand, and the room went quiet the way rooms do for very old women who have earned it. "I am 84, she said. I built that fund from the sale of the only house your grandfather and I ever owned. I put it aside so that my great-grandchildren could have a beginning I never had. I chose 2 trustees on purpose, so that no one person could turn a child's future into a party. She looked at Paige. You didn't steal from Naomi, she said. You stole from Bristol. And when Naomi stopped you, you told the family she was cold. She turned to the rest of them. She isn't cold. She's the only one of you who read what I wrote. Then she said the thing that ended it. I'm exercising the clause you all forgot was in there. I'm removing Paige as a person able to request disbursements on any of the children's funds. Naomi and the bank will manage them going forward. And Bristol's share stays exactly where it is, for Bristol for school when she's ready. Not for a room with chandeliers. Bristol had been quiet the whole time. But at that, she looked up, first at her mother, then at me, then at the document with the 2 mismatched signatures, and I watched something shift in a 16-year-old's face that no party could have bought. But at that, she looked up, first at her mother, then at me. She understood. After the meeting in the hallway, Bristol found me. She didn't apologize for the text. She was 16 and embarrassed, and it would take time. She just said quietly, "Is my college money actually still there?" "All of it," I said, "plus what your mom took. Grandma's making sure it goes back." Bristol nodded. Her eyes were wet. Aunt Naomi, she said, "Did you really not sign that thing?" "I really didn't," I said. "I would never sign away your future. Not for anyone." She hugged me in the hallway of a law office, and it was worth more than any sweet 16. The fraud review resolved the way these things resolve when the documents are clear. No charges were filed, where Grandma didn't want her granddaughter prosecuted, and Margaret negotiated a resolution where Paige repaid the withdrawn funds over time and permanently lost any access to the children's trusts. No charges were filed. Grandma didn't want her granddaughter prosecuted. The account came off hold once my name was cleared and the forged document was set aside. Bristol's fund is whole. It's still there. It's still hers. Paige and I don't really talk now. She tells people I chose money over family, which is a sentence that only makes sense if you never read the trust. The truth is, I chose a 16-year-old's future over a party her parents couldn't afford, and I'd do it again with less hesitation than the first time. Bristol turned 16, with cake and pizza in a backyard, which is what most of us get, and which is enough. I gave her a card and gave her quietly opened a small separate account in her name, mine, not the trust's, for whatever she wants when she's 18. No chandeliers, just a beginning she owns. My mother eventually admitted in a short and painful phone call that she'd always let Paige get away with too much. It wasn't an apology, exactly. But it was the first time the ledger won an argument in my family, and I'll take it. Grandma Rosalind is still with us. Still sharp on her good days. When I visit, she asks about the children's funds, and I tell her the balances line by line, and she nods like a woman who built something that held. People ask if I feel guilty for freezing the account, for ruining the party, for not just wiring the money and keeping the peace. No, guilt is for people who did something wrong. I didn't forge anything. I didn't steal from a child. I didn't lie to a bank. I read a document. I refused to sign what I couldn't sign, and when someone put my name on it anyway, I told the truth on a recorded line. They called me cold for keeping receipts. Grandma called me the one who reads the paperwork. Bristol calls me Aunt Naomi and asks about her college fund, and it's still there. Was I wrong? Let me know in the comments. And if a family member ever treated your money, or money that was never theirs, like it belonged to them by default, I want to hear your story. Subscribe if you want more stories where the quietest person in the room kept the ledger the whole time.